Well, hi everybody, welcome to the shed. I'm going to do another oil change video on this Nissan X-Trail. It's our T31. It's another oil change, so I'm going to do that for you. It's the 2.5 litre petrol engine. Okay, so if you've got one of those, we'll see how we go. And so you're going to need 5 litres of oil. I'm still using full synthetic 5W40 as recommended by the manufacturer, even though the car's got 230,000 kilometres on it now. Still using that oil without any problem. I've got a 6 litre container. I like to buy 6 litres, gives me about a litre for servicing. Okay, you're also going to need a 14mm socket or spanner, whichever you like to use. You're going to need a funnel for pouring your oil back in, a oil filter removal tool, makes life a little bit easier, and of course your filter. So that's there you go. It's a Repco one, and it also is the Ryco numbers are there for you. Okay. So that's all ready to go. Now the first thing that I will do is I'll take the oil filler cap off because it helps the engine drain better. And what I like to do is I like to put that oil fill cap right there in the bonnet catch. That way if I happen to forget to put the oil filler cap on and close the bonnet, well, it's going to stop the bonnet from closing. And I'm going to go, what the hell have I done? So I've got a drain bucket there. It's going to be enough to take 5 litres. At the moment I'm running a little low on oil. It's probably going to drop about 4 litres out. And we'll get to it with that. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this one-handed, so holding the camera as well, and yeah, I'm not real good at that. But anyway, we'll have a crack, eh? So there's a drain plug on the back of the engine. I'll get that onto there, and I have just cracked this a little bit and tightened back up, but made it easier for me for the video. So there you go, I've just loosened that off. I had, as I said, had that already cracked. Place my drain back up under there. And we're going to take that off. You'll notice I'll just watch that as it goes. Here, she shoots back a little bit. You'll notice I've got the car up on ramps. That makes life a little bit easier for me. It also gets a little bit of angle on the back of the engine. Get as much of that oil out as possible. Okay, so I'll let that drain out, and I'll come back to you in a few minutes. It's just about done draining. It's just a few drips left there. I'm going to put that bung back in. Okay. Alright, now the service centre would put a new copper washer on there. I've never replaced a copper washer on a oil drain bung before, and never had a leak. Should expect that. I mean, inspect it to make sure it's in good condition and can be reused. Okay, so I've just done that back up while I've been doing that, and you'll see I haven't used a huge amount of force, but it's on tight and it's not going to come undone. Drain out of the engine. Of course, you don't want it to start now. The next part is for the oil filter. There it is there. There's your oil filter there. So if you get your spanner onto that, and once again, get your bucket underneath it. Okay, so I'll put you on a tripod to make things easy. I couldn't do both. Alright, so I've got my tool on there, and I'm going to undo that. If you've got, you can do it without the tool, but the tool does make it a lot easier to undo. So basically this one here clamps on and undoes the filter, enough just to get it by hand, and then from there you can do it by hand. Alright, so I'm going to undo that filter. It's going to drop some oil as it's going. Good, it's actually going into the bucket. That's a good thing. Okay, and that's the filter off. So let that drain a little bit from there also, and then we'll go ahead and put the new filter on. So I've got my new oil filter here. What you want to check with the old one when it comes off, that the rubber O-ring that's around there, or gasket, actually comes off with it. Sometimes they might stick to the block. If it does that, because you've got 2 lots of rubber there, they can actually force one of them out, and then you drop all your oil out. So that wouldn't be good. So a little bit of oil on that mating face. I just a bit of a smear on there. I've used some of the old oil. Probably should use the newer stuff, but I've used that. So once that's on, we can screw that back on. Alright, ready to put the filter on. So if I just peel that back, you can see that thread up there, that's rather shiny, a bit of oil dropping from it. That's where the filter's got to go back on. So I've just got that splash guard out the way, and just putting that filter back on, just making sure it doesn't cross thread. Let's get my hand up there, both hands, there we go. So that's just enough to get it started, and spin it on, and then basically hand firm it. There are instructions on the canister, on the filter, of what to do. It's a little bit up. We read the instructions, and just a nice firm hold there, and that's about it. And you can do that up by hand. No need to squeeze around with the spanner to do that up. So that's the filter back on. I'm just going to wipe that with a rag, get rid of any excess oil there, so I can see if I've got a leak, because you want to check it later on just to see if it's going to leak or not. This is the major part of it done. Oh, don't forget the other major part. You need to fill the oil back up. Okay, so ready to put the oil back in. It's not a huge filler neck, and this funnel is almost, well, pretty much too big for it, but it does just fit down in there. So just have to watch it that it doesn't move. Okay, make sure your funnel's clean. You don't want to be getting any dirt in there, and you're ready to pour your oil in. So you need to make sure that funnel doesn't move. Just a little tip: if you tip your bottle upside down, like handle down, spout up the top, it'll pour out a lot easier without glugging everywhere. Now these cars need 5 litres of oil, and this is a 6 litre bottle. So I'm going to pour in an estimate of 5 litres. I'll run it and check it. The oil filter will use a little bit of oil as well. I'll need to actually check this after it's back on the ground, so you need to check it with the car level, flat and level surface. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it there, and I spilt a little bit, not too much, it's alright. Okay, clean that up a bit. Oh, just made another drip. So that's the oil back in the engine. I'll check it and once I got it off the ramps, and put the oil filler cap back on, otherwise it will spray oil out over the top of the engine. Alright, so excuse the dark lighting. I'm just going to start it up and check that the oil warning light goes off very quickly. So I'm just going to give it a start. There we go. So that's got oil pressure up now, and that's all good. Okay, so I've run the engine, so the oil filter is primed up, and it's stopped enough for the oil to run back down the engine, and I'm on a level surface. So it's time to check the oil. So there's the filler, the dipstick. So I just run it through the rag on the way up, put it back in, and bring it up and check that. Okay. Now that's about here, and low's down here, and high's up here. So I need add a little bit more oil, probably about ½ litre to it. Okay. Off the filler cap. Put it in the bonnet clip. Give it a little time to trickle down. Okay. Let's double check that. And that's now just about right at the high mark, and I can hear it still trickling down, so I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so that's it. Just a couple of little tips. I put it up on ramps because it makes the oil run to the back. You could do it on flat surfaces, enough room under these cars to do that without on ramps. I told you about my filler cap trick that I use. And the other thing was that this engine was warm. We'd been just driven it for 45 minutes towing a trailer, and I let it sit for about an hour and come out, drove it up on the ramps. Now the idea is that the oil's hot, makes it run out a lot easier. Don't want it too hot to burn your hands, you just want it hot enough to make it run really, really simple. One last final thing, don't forget to draw it on your service sticker when you need to do your oil change next. So I do mine by kilometres because we do enough of that. So it needs a new oil filter and oil at 240,000 kilometres. That's a bit messy. So we've done the engine oil there. And stick that on your windscreen so you don't forget. Okay, thanks again. Bye.